All right, week 14 of the NFL, getting down to the end here. We got 4 games left. People trying to get in the playoffs, win the division, tank for draft picks, what have you. And we finally got big news this week on the coaching front. An NFL owner decided that, they had already made the decision that they were going to have to let go of their coach at the end of the year. So rather than wait, have him twist in the wind, give his team to respond these last few games with new management, new leadership. He cut his head coach loose and was able to, get a jump start on the search for the new coach. So I want to commend whoever the guy is that owns the Carolina Panthers for making this bold move, fires Ron Rivera, and gets a jump start on a new coaching era in Carolina. Meanwhile, Jerry's still weeping because he's got to fire Jason Garrett in 3 weeks, or 4 weeks, but whatever it is. Any event, Cowboys actually kick off the week Thursday night at Chicago. 2 teams coming in at 6-6. The Bears need this game to keep their slim wild card hopes alive. The Cowboys, everyone knows what it is at this point. I have nothing new to add. Garrett's got to go. It's time, and now it's time. Enough is enough. I don't understand why they just don't let him go now. I don't know why we're holding on here at this point. And actually, I heard something like, I listen to, a lot of sports talk radio. I try not to watch the TV as much because I can't stand the fake arguing and outrage. It's just so unwatchable. But I was listening to somebody and they actually made a good point. Like, why don't they, when you have a situation like the Cowboys are in, why don't they just drop the head coach, bring in an established guy, a professional, to just try to turn it around the last 6 to 8 weeks, knowing that, he's there on an interim basis, and then you worry about next year. And the example he gave, and I'm not saying this is the right answer, but the example is why not throw $5 million at Mike Shanahan to just come in and see if he can turn this thing around, and if he does, great, and if he doesn't, then it wasn't going to be any worse than having Garrett sit there, as a lame duck, and it's just I don't understand why they don't do that in football. Baseball and basketball, they drop guys all the time and have a guy finish out the season and see, see if they can do something to get something done. I'd have to go to college basketball, but, one of the more famous, you got to go back to 89 when they Michigan fired whoever the coach was. I forget who it was. They brought in Steve Fisher, and then 6 weeks later they won the NCAA tournament. So, I'm not saying this is what can happen in football, but I just understand why they don't do it. I don't understand, is the preparation for a football game that intense that we can't just... Garrett's not calling the plays, he's not calling the offensive defense. He's just there, botching clock management and generally not motivating the team and having them ready to play. So I don't understand what he's doing there the last 4 weeks. Because, at the end of the day, the Cowboys still have a legitimate chance to win a division, get in the playoffs. And when you're in the playoffs, you just got to go on a run for a couple games, And again, is the likelihood of it happening, is not great, obviously, but you can't just say, oh, well, we're going to we won the division and we're just going to lose a playoff game. You can't give up on 2019. So I don't understand why they can't bring somebody in again, Mike Shanahan was the example this guy used. He's got 2 Super Bowl rings. What does he do? He comes in, shows everybody his ring, say, hey, anybody want to get one of these? You guys have the talent to do it. Anybody want to get it done? And then see what happens. But instead we're going to sit and hang out with Garrett for the last 3 weeks and keep our fingers crossed that that it works out. And again, and the sad part is, the Cowboys' next 2 games, they get the Bears and the Rams. They could lose both of those games, and they'd still control their own destiny. All they have to do is beat Philly Week 16 and beat Washington Week 17, and they win the division. That's it. That's all they got to do. Like, it's ridiculous. I mean, if they get into the 4th seed, they're going to be looking at San Francisco, maybe Seattle in round 1. I personally would love to get San Francisco. I don't care how good their defense is. Give me Jimmy Garoppolo in his first playoff start. Let me see what he does. And then who knows? So, again, I think we're just giving up on 2019, when we just leave Garrett there and hope he turns it around. So there it is. I mean, they're going to I'm going to pick them to beat the Bears this week. And here's the other thing. I really think Jerry Jones wanted to fire Garrett after the New England game. But, again, classic Jerry Jones. I think the reason he didn't is really just the schedule. Because, he was really ticked after the New England game. But he was probably saying to himself, well, we got a game Thursday. I can't get rid of the coach now with a game in 3 days. And then, he definitely wanted to fire him after the Buffalo. But, again, they got another Thursday game coming up. So, even though there's a week's time, it's still a midweek. They're off their regular schedule. I think that's why Garrett is still here. I think if they lose to the Bears, I think he's going to drop Garrett. Because then he can say to himself, all right, well, we got 10 days till the next game. We got time to make the transition and turn it around. So I know he said that he's not firing him, but if they lose and look bad in Chicago, he's going to fire him because now the schedule makes sense in his mind. Because, again, I think that's why he didn't drop him after New England, was because they had 2 more games in the next 10 days. So there you go. But anyway, I'll take him to win, but who cares at this point because it's going to come down to Philly game. Unless Philly keeps losing, of course. I mean, we'll get to them later, but I'll take the Cowboys. Sunday afternoon, the early games, you get Carolina and Atlanta. Carolina, again, a little surprised they got rid of Ron Rivera, but hey, if you get rid of him, let's get it started here. Why not? Atlanta dominated them the last time they played in Carolina. Now they're coming to Atlanta. I mean, listen, this season's been over. Carolina's season is over. Who cares who wins? I'll take Carolina because they'll be fired up that they got a different coach maybe. A big game here. Baltimore's at Buffalo. Listen, the Bills are for real, it looks like. I know it's just hard to believe because, they haven't been great for a long time now. But, Josh Allen's looking good. They've got that young kid Singletary. He's going to be a great player for them, I think. You get Cole Beasley. I mean, Cole Beasley in a revenge game at Dallas. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. The defense is playing well. Buffalo's 9. I think if Buffalo wins, because they're 9-3, I think if Buffalo wins, they clinch a playoff spot. Or they're very close. But I think they clinch if they win. This will be a tough game, but I think they're going to hang with them. I don't think this is going to be a game where Baltimore runs wild. I mean, we saw, 49er game was close. 49ers have good defense. Bills have good defense. I'll take the Ravens to win, but this will be a good game, and dare I say a possible playoff preview, whatever. That'll be a good ball game. And then you get Cincinnati at Cleveland. Cincinnati finally won a game. Congratulations. Cleveland blew a big chance to get themselves in wild card position. I'll take the Browns, but don't be surprised here now if the Bengals take advantage of Cleveland slipping back here. But who cares? These teams are not going anywhere. Washington's at Green Bay. Really surprised what Washington did. Carolina went up early in that game, 14-0, I think, or 14-3 or something like that, and then the route was on, but it was the Redskins. Darius Geis running wild. Peterson had a big day, and the Redskins are they might be feisty the end of the year here because they've got a solid running game now with Geis back, and Haskins will get better. We'll see if he's the real deal or not, but they're not going to beat Green Bay. I mean, Green Bay is going to win. They're back on track. They got a couple cupcakes here. They had the Giants last week. Had some fun in the snow with them. And then they'll take care of the Redskins this week. Detroit's at Minnesota. Minnesota blew a big chance to strengthen their wild card position. I mean, they'll probably still get in the playoffs, but them losing, left it open for the Bears and the Rams. I don't know what the tiebreak is with the Rams. I don't think the Rams and Vikings have played each other this year, but Vikings need to get back on track at home. They'll beat the Lions this week, and need a big game from Stephon Diggs, because I've had it with him. Another big game here. San Francisco's at New Orleans. Again, this is two teams that are definitely going to be in the playoffs. Two teams that could end up playing each other in the playoffs. So the winner of this game, could be looking at having home field advantage in that game. The Saints, Alvin Kamara's having an okay year. He's not killing it like he has in the past. I mean, he's been good, but he hasn't dominated like he has the last couple of years. But I need him to have a big game. Again, he's getting a tough defense here with 49ers. 49ers hung with Baltimore. Their defense is for real. Their running game is ridiculous. Mostert was the guy last week. It just seems every week they have a guy that puts up big numbers. I'm going to take the Saints only because they're home, but this should be another good game. Listen, the 49ers might not mind the 5 seed, because it means they end up going to the NFC East in round 1. So, it's not going to be a bad consolation prize if they don't end up winning the division, getting a first-round bye. But I'll take the Saints, so that'll be a good game. Miami's at the Jets. The Jets, they beat the Cowboys week 6. Then they lose to 0-7 Dolphins. Last week they lose to 0-11 Bengals. Take your pick with the Jets. I want to take Miami in this game. Is Miami going to win 2 in a row? They did already, right? Because they beat the Colts a week after the Jets. What the Jets? Oh God, who cares? I'll take the Jets. Who cares? Indianapolis at Tampa. Indy's just been killed with injuries this year. Now it seems like T.Y. Hilton might be out for the year now. They might get Mack back this week. They hung with Tennessee last week, but then it fell apart at the end. Adam Vinatieri getting a kick blocked for a touchdown. I don't know what's going on with him, but he's missing kicks. Now he's getting kicks blocked for touchdowns. He's having a rough year. Brissett has not played all that great the last few weeks. I'll take them to beat Tampa here, but you never know what you're going to get out of Tampa, and they can put points up, even though they are sloppy with the ball. They can move the ball and put points on you. But the Colts really need this game, stay in the hunt, or they're gonna fall back and fade out. But I'll take the Colts in this one. And then last game Sunday, early games, you get Denver at Houston. Drew Lock, nice debut last week. I'm hoping him and Cortland Sutton can do some big things. I got them in one of my dynasty leagues, so I'm looking forward to a nice. They got off to a nice start last week, and hopefully we get a lot more of that going forward. Houston's a better team. Deshaun Watson's actually my starter on that team, so that's it's a good asset to have. Houston come off a big win against the Patriots, and again, just like Baltimore, when they beat New England, everyone's talking about New England's starting to struggle. New England's not good on offense. Tom Brady is old. We're starting to hear a lot of this stuff again. Let's see Houston do it in January. Now, listen, if Patriots stumble here, they could be on the road for 1 or 2 games. But until one of these guys beat New England in January, I'm not impressed. But again, good win for them. Obviously, they needed it. And Houston will beat Denver this week. Late games, you get the Chargers at Jacksonville. Who cares? Minshew's back. I'll take the Jaguars. Tennessee is at Oakland. Raiders are... I don't know what happened to the Raiders. A couple weeks ago, they were looking like they were a playoff team, and now they're kind of fading away in a hurry. They look lost against the Jets. They looked lost last week in Kansas City. Tennessee is playing well. I still can't get myself to trust the Titans, but I mean, they're there, and listen, they got to play Houston twice the last 3 weeks, so they're in it to win the AFC South. So Oakland is going to be a tough place to play. They only got 1 or 2 games left there before they move out of there for good. I'll take the Titans to win this game because I think the Raiders are starting to realize it's getting away from them. They can't win the division. They're back in the pack for a wild card. I'll take Tennessee to win this game, but we'll see if the Raiders end up being feisty in this one. You get Pittsburgh's at Arizona. Man, Steelers, listen, give them credit. I mean, it doesn't matter who they throw out there, quarterback, who they throw out there, running back, who they throw out there, receiver. I mean, they're winning games. I mean, they're in a position, they'd be the 6th seed right now. The defense is playing well. They're finding ways to win the game. I can't see them going far in the playoffs. There's just too many top-heavy teams in the AFC, but you got to give them credit. And they're playing Steeler football. They'll beat the Cardinals this week. I was disappointed in them. They kind of look bad against the Rams. So they are what they are at this point. But I mean, Kyler Murray he'll get better, and they'll get better next year. But I'll take the Steelers beat Arizona. And then the big game late Sunday, Kansas City's at New England. Here we go again. I mean, if the Chiefs can win this game, New England's not in trouble, but New England's going to find themselves in a situation where they could be on the road for multiple games in the playoffs, where, right now, they're still getting a bye. They're still getting the 2 seed, at least, if not the 1, because, Baltimore might slip up. But if New England wins this game, they're getting a bye, because they got cupcakes the rest of the way. But, we'll see what happens here. Obviously, the Chiefs need to get a win here, but if the Chiefs win this game, it is going to make the AFC playoff picture a lot more interesting in the sense that, now the byes are up for grabs, because New England would be 10-3, Chiefs would be 9-4, Houston, if they win, they'll be 9-4, and Baltimore would be 10-3, 11-2, whatever they are. So it really puts Houston and Kansas City in play for that bye, and could send New England to the first round, because Houston and Kansas City would then have a tiebreak on New England. But I think New England's going to find a way to win this game. I know I'm not rooting for New England to win these games, but I just get tired of people just wanting so bad the dynasty to be over. And I get it, but New England is just a special team in the sense that they just don't go away, and they're always there. And until you beat this team when it counts, I'm not impressed. I don't care that Baltimore beat them Week 8. I don't care that Houston beat them last. By the way, Houston almost blew that game last week. They were down 28-9, and then they get a couple touchdowns, and then the guy has his hand on the outside kick, and he couldn't bring it in. If he brings that in, New England's winning the game, because they're going to go down and score and win the game. So, again, these regular season wins are nice because it shows that it gives them hope that you can beat them, and possibly you get the game in your building in January. But until it happens, bet against New England at your own risk. I'll take New England to somehow win this game against the Chiefs this week. And then you get your Sunday night game. You get Seattle's at the Rams. Rams must have been listening to everybody talking about how they were done, how their future is bleak because they have no cap space, and they go out and blow out the Cardinals, and Robert Woods puts up like 50 fantasy points. Seattle, listen, Russell Wilson is, you wish he was on your team, because you're never out of the game when Russell Wilson's there. He just makes plays. He gets the ball to whoever. Tyler Lockett's a good receiver. Metcalf is a promising rookie, but they don't have superstar guys in the skill positions. They have good players, but Russell Wilson just makes everybody better. He's just fun to watch, and he's great to have in fantasy. I'm conflicted this year because I got him in one league, and I'm going against him in another with a guy I'm chasing for most points. But it's just, he's a special player. He's going to be special on Sunday night. He's going to put the Rams out of their misery, and I'll take the Seahawks. And then Monday night, you get the Giants and the Eagles. You get the possible return of Eli Manning. Just what the doctor ordered. If you want maybe the Giants to upset Philly. And listen, if Philly keeps losing these games, we're going to win the division by default. So I'll take it. I don't care. We could be 6-10. If we win the division, I'll take it. I don't care. Again, this is a situation where I can't, like last week, I can't pick against Philly because the team is so bad. But, for one of the few times in my life I'll be rooting for the Giants. But I think the Eagles will somehow bounce back. Although, you know what? Keep being a mess. Keep losing games. It's fine with me. So there you go, Week 14. Your fantasy playoffs are starting. I've got a bye in one of my leagues, so I can relax at least for that one. And then we'll see you for the Cowboys Thursday night. And then there you go, Week 14 NFL.